I would read a lot because my mother used to read. So monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
I used to see her read a lot. Hawking mandazi, you walk in Kisumu on the stage, mandas kobole, mandas kobole.
So before we move to campus, there's already a way you're operating.
Yes.
You're making 110,
Yeah.
130, 150, but you decide you're not going to eat a meal, or you'll have 2 mandazis that will carry you through the day so that you can save. Where did you learn that?
My mother. I strongly believe that the lessons we inculcate in our children are important. I used to see her save for our school fees. She could say, I'm saving this money for your school fees. So I knew I had a responsibility to save. I was about to go to campus. I didn't know whether I would get the loan, the student loan or not. So I was trying to save as much as possible. 1, to pay rent. 2, to help pay my brother's school fees. And 3, in case we got to campus and I didn't get loan. So I would just save whatever I could. I opened a bank account actually because after my mother passed on, we had to open bank accounts. She worked for the Teachers Service Commission, but she worked as a clerical officer. Okay. So she didn't earn much. And I opened a bank account. So whatever monies I would get, I would go to the bank in Kisumu. It was always a joy for me going to the bank to take 200 shillings, to take 100 shillings. When I took 500 shillings, it was such a miracle. So when I finally came to Nairobi, at least I had some money to move with in Nairobi, because at that time we hadn't gotten the HELB loan. I didn't have anything. My relatives in Nairobi were not doing so well, but I stayed with an aunt of mine who was really, really helpful.
And who was paying school fees for Ronnie?
Nobody, because I was paying the school fees, whatever I was saving. You remember all this is in a span of 1 year. So by the end of 1 year, Ronnie had a huge backlog of fees. My sister Belinda was earning a little bit of money, so we brought forces between Belinda and myself to pay. Another thing, when my mom died, there is some funeral collections that we got. It was not much, but that really, really assisted us in paying a huge chunk of his first year fees. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you come to Nairobi?
So I come to Nairobi, and Nairobi is new. I'd been here probably before, reciting poetry and visiting relatives, but now I was here as an adult on my own. Maybe by that time I was about 19. You've gotten to Nairobi, you see tall buildings. I saw anniversary towers. I was asking people, in the Uchumi supermarket? And they told me, no, this is where we get our loans, So I applied for a loan, and as fate would have it, the orphan that I was, I got full loan and full bursary. So for the next 4 years, I would get full loan and full bursary. Wow. This loan was 48,000 shillings for the year. Okay. And bursary was about 8,000. So 48,000 was given out in 2 tranches, 24. So I was here with the 24,000. I had never held 24,000 shillings in my life. And many of us were really happy to have that kind of money. So there was this practice in campus. Whenever we got our HELB loan, we would a lot of it went to food, because most of the government would pay the school fees. Yeah. So we had this practice which we joked about, that at the beginning we would eat animals, chicken, beef, and so on. And then after a while, mid-semester, we would eat animal products. So we would eat eggs, milk, and so on. And then towards the end, we would now eat animal feeds, mboga and beans. Yeah. Yeah, but for me, I started with animal feeds right from the beginning because I had school fees to pay for my brother. And so I said, I think I can survive a semester with 5,000 shillings. And I took 19,000 shillings. So I didn't know where to take 19,000 shillings. However, two things happened that transformed my life. In high school, I'd done commerce. And in commerce, we had read about the stock exchange, Nairobi Stock Exchange. I read about brokers. I read about jobbers. I still don't know who jobbers are, but I read about brokers. And so I was like, this is the only opportunity I know. By then, there was no knowledge on diversification and whatnot. And the second thing, it was 2002. And in campus, we would really follow the political wave. So there was a rally at Uhuru Park, not far from campus. And we went for that rally. At that time, KANU was in power, and there were two huge political groupings. One was the NAK, and the other was the group that was dissenting from KANU, bringing together Honorable Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Najib Balala, and a few others. And then there was Ford People by the late Honorable Nyachai. And so while we were in that rally, I knew that NAK or the KANU, the fallout from KANU would probably come together. The two groups would probably come together. And so we went for the rally, just the students that we are. And so the Honorable Raila Odinga said the big Kibaki Tosha declaration. And so we knew that Kibaki would then be the candidate. And the news was aplash with information on Kibaki, the Makerere trained economist, and so on. So it got me looking more into matters related to finance. And so the next...
But just let me just ask it. Have you always been this analytical? You know, like events happen all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and we see and we move on and we ask our friends, hey, so where are we going tonight? You know, but you have a way of seeing something and piecing these things together. Yeah. So I'm just like, I mean, who does that? You're 19.
I don't know, but I think I knew what was ahead of me. I knew I had a younger brother who needed to complete school. And anywhere I was, I would always think of how to make money. I almost started hawking in campus because, you know, I was used to selling mandazis just a year before. So I had these 19,000 shillings. So when we went to the library, there were two leading national newspapers at that time, and the University of Nairobi would give us, in Chiromo campus, two newspapers. And so everybody would rush to open and take the first pages, you know, Rainbow Coalition born, and so on. And so what was always left behind were the business news, and even the sport pages would go. You remember Standard had something called Digger Classified, and then there were death and funeral announcements, and then there was the stock market. So on that particular day, the day after
the rally?
After the rally, I'm going to the market, I'm in the library, and reading the newspapers, and by the time I got there, all that was left were the business pages. And I saw a listing of stockbrokers in Kenya, and I remembered I had read about the stock market, you know, and there was Faida Securities at that time, and many others. So I looked through, and even their addresses were put there, and I'm like, Faida, they're at Windsor at that time. This is Sonia, I can walk there. So I'm armed with 19,000 shillings in my account, and I walk with my sandals, my trouser, my baggy t-shirt, and I looked for Faida Investment Bank. Now,
Faida
by that time it was Faida Securities. I got in, the security guy out there for the entire building looked at me. I told him what I wanted. He showed me to the floor. So when I came in, I got this welcoming lady at the counter, and I introduced myself. I said where I was, and I told her that I would want to invest. Can you help me? And she said no. So I was a bit taken aback. Then she said, but someone else can. Yeah, I'm the receptionist here. So she called and she whispered on the phone. So I kept wondering, is she describing my pathetic look? Is she describing my poverty? I looked hungry, haggard, you know. And then she told me she directed me to an office. So when the doors were opened, I knew I was home. I saw this young girl, maybe just a little bit older than me, and she was looking smart, also corporate, and here I am. But my mother had taught me to be confident through.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I looked there, I doubted if the money that I had would be sufficient. And Rina came. Then came Rina. And she welcomed me, gave me a seat. I was like, oh my God, I'm used to sitting on hard seats. It was so calmly, so welcoming, gave me a good environment. And Rina looked at me, and I told her my story. I'm an orphan. I have a younger brother. I told you my story. I have a younger brother. I'm in school. I've just joined. I'm in Chiromo campus. I mentioned how I'd wanted to study law. I was called for science, and I really needed to make a difference for my family. And I wanted to buy shares. So what caught my attention was you did not tell me what shares to buy. You went through all the shares, and you didn't discredit any company, and you told me how they were doing, and you asked me to make a decision. So at that time, I'm with 19,000 shillings, and I looked through, and you were free. You told me you can even come back tomorrow and decide. You gave me some papers, which really warmed my heart. And by that time, I had already taken a decision that I was going to buy a certain counter. And so I bought these shares. Were they 9 shillings or 19 shillings? There was a lot of 19 in this equation. I probably picked them because they were 19. I'm 19. I have 19,000 shillings. Yeah. Shares are selling at 19, and so on. So I bought the shares. Within 3 months, the Rainbow Coalition swept the political landscape and won the elections, because I joined campus in October. And elections were held towards the end of December. And in January, the investor confidence went up. And I would go to the library, look through the newspapers. I would always find the pages on the stock market untouched. So everybody would be reading something else. But the stock market was there. So I could look and see how the companies were rising. And within a few months, the shares that I'd bought at 19 shillings had moved to 39 shillings. Yeah. And it was 20 shillings net, you know. I went and sold some shares because I needed to pay my younger brother's school fees. And I also kept some change to treat myself now to animals. So I ate a little bit of chicken, and a little bit of meat. What's funny?
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have come to the place where you want to either begin your journey with investing or continue, and you want to be able to be consistent and you need guidance and you want to be able to invest consistently, there's numbers on the screen. There's actually one number on the screen, 0759 777 666. Send a WhatsApp message and somebody on our team will get in touch with you. Whether it's stocks or shares, you want to invest in bonds, you want to invest in treasury bills, you want to be able to start your journey in the Oaks Special Fund, whatever that is. And even if you're not too sure where to start, we shall help you. 0759 777 666. Send a WhatsApp message and we will be in touch with you. Whether it is nighttime, daytime, weekend, don't worry. Just send a WhatsApp message. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Bye-bye.